Jim Lee in a I mean we were both cursing together. Like, what the hell is this all about? Of course, the language is a lot more flowery, and I'm going to have to dedicate a good portion of my weekend to figuring that one out. So, well, there's a will, there's a way, but of course, it's like you versus Microsoft. And I don't know. We will see what happens. Thankfully, I have Studio B at my disposal. Studio B to the rescue. And I don't have any guests tonight. Well, Matt said he might stop by in the second half, but he's gonna he'll find that the studio is locked up. He's not gonna stop by. There's no point in stopping by in the second half. He had to do overtime tonight, he said. So doesn't matter. Anywho, here we are, and I've got some things I want to do with you. It's going to be very, very in your, it's going to be in your court. I want to take your calls. I have some interesting things that we couldn't do last night, a little bit more of a deeper dive into the bigger questions and your theories about this DC crash. And then there is also, I have a couple of clips from the Tulsi hearing and like one or two more from RFK. I haven't seen anybody do a real big, I'm sure it's out there, but I haven't seen a master thread on the Kash Patel hearing. But so many of the clips I saw from him were like 20 seconds or less. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We'll do a little bit of that, a little bit of this. I want to take your calls, and I'll give you all the topics coming up, including some petty stuff. Really, some really petty stuff. I saw this. I was handed an article on a really weird breakup, and I like petty breakup stories. Obviously breakups are not fun, and sometimes they can get very creepy and horrible. Or maybe if they're just your run of the mill breakup, everybody just feels like trash for a couple of weeks, and all of a sudden, one day you get out of bed and you can breathe deeply again, and it's just, it's all behind me. Well, I like petty breakup stories, which are actually like, all right, well, these two definitely did not belong together. But then it got so childish afterwards. It's more laugh worthy than Bunny Boiler, Glenn Close, Fatal Attraction type shit. I don't want. Maybe we'll do a Fatal Attraction night. We should do Fatal Attraction night, quite frankly. Okay, tonight we'll do some petty breakup stories, like things that you've done, and I hope it's you guys too. You can tell me about things that somebody you've broken up with did to you petty afterwards, like they took a dump in your in the upper tank of your toilet before they left the house, or I don't know, they shaving creamed your car, something petty and childish. But I hope some of you out there are able to admit where you've been petty, because that's just fun. And hopefully it was long enough ago that we can all laugh about it now, including yourself. I've done a lot of growing. So yeah, it's Friday night. I just wanted to do a little something different. Something that's good. Chicken soup for the soul. You know what I mean? Jelly bean. All right. So that's what I have on that front. Let's go into something else that I forgot to put this in the chat room. Damn it. You know what? I'm going to do this right now in the YouTube chat in particular, because I've already been, this is a Twitter poll that I put out yesterday, and I want to make sure that we have this on the record. It's about daylight savings time, because I would also like for people to call in tonight. Here we go. There I am. There I am right now. All right, hold on. Now I'm going into the YouTube chat room right now. I'm starting a poll. The question of the poll is daylight savings time. Would you rather? Okay. Let me get daylight savings time. Would you rather? It's about the permanence of a change. Let's see here. Spring forward. Always. Fall back. Always. I like it where it is. All right. I'm starting the poll. No matter where you're watching right now, because I don't think that Rumble has a chat poll option over there. Just hop over to the YouTube and at least get a vote in. And when you call in tonight for any number of topics that'll be out there, whether it's your theories and your observations on the DC crash, whether it is the petty breakup stories or whatever, I want to hear from you guys on this thing in particular, especially if you are a fallback type of person. Now, I just want to know why you would want to do fallback, because, and only because, the vast majority of people that have responded to this want spring forward. They just want more sunlight. They want it longer. They just want it right now, and they don't want to change anymore. So you give me a call, and you can tell me if you prefer it where it is or fall back, only because those seem to be minority opinions, and I don't judge one way or another. I don't care. I will take more sunlight, but when it's winter, it's going to be cold one way or another. It's not like spring forward is preventing us from having a warm day in January in New York. That's not the issue. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So thank you so much for that. And we'll check in on that right on the other side of the intro video. All right. So here we go. First one up is from WorldNet Daily. Soros-owned radio station doxes ICE agents hunting for violent gang criminals. Oh, we've been talking about the Soros radio station buyouts, 200 at a clip. Let's see here. A radio station that is owned by radical leftist and open borders advocate George Soros reportedly has doxed federal immigration and customs enforcement officers who are hunting for criminals in a region of San Jose, California, known for its violent gangs. Such doxing, the public identification of vehicles or individuals, could allow gang members and suspects to evade arrest or even turn on the officers and injure them. The report from the Post-Millennial said that the Bay Area station reported live the vehicle descriptions of 3 alleged undercover vehicles in East San Jose, an area with violent Latino migrant gang activity. The report warned, quote, the information put law enforcement officers at serious risk while an operation was ongoing targeting violent criminal foreign nationals. The situation developed just days ago on January 26th. That's KCBS. 7:40 a.m. radio host Brett Burkhart described the unmarked vehicles being used by ICE and exact locations where ICE agents had been operating. Brett should be in jail right now for aiding and abetting. Well, what do you want me to say? I mean, maybe it's not just Brett. Maybe there is a need to do a little bit of interviewing at KCBS in San Jose. Maybe everybody at the station needs to be interviewed just to see how wide this mandate is to aid and abet criminals. And at the very least, Brett should go to jail. So sorry, Brett. But there we go. All right, here's another one for you. Now, I need to find something on this. I thought for sure I had this somewhere. For sure I had this somewhere, but I don't. I can't find it. Here's from the Zero Hedge. The Zero Hedge says the shit posting Fed workers with TDS on Reddit. Okay, they're working with TDS on Reddit in a violation of the Hatch Act. Are they? That's the question. Trump administration has just offered millions of unproductive federal workers buyouts through the government-wide deferred resignation program to push efficiency and trim costs in a major restructuring effort to paralyze the deep state. One pathway the Trump team could take to cut federal workers is this. Ex-user Reddit Lies, I've seen Reddit Lies, posted what appears to be user data from Reddit's the Fed News subreddit. The largest subreddit for federal workers, showing that thousands, if not more, are spending much of the standard day working day shit posting, sharing, and liking one-sided political rhetoric, potentially in violation of the Hatch Act. And here are the major findings. Fed News is the largest subreddit for federal workers. Weekends and government holidays have been excluded from this data set. 74% of active on Fed News occurs on workdays. 2 out of 3 posts on workdays fall between standard government workday hours. Well, maybe it was during their lunch. The Fed News subreddit is the largest subreddit for federal workers. They repeated that. The latest one-sided political rhetoric from the subreddit feed of more than 234,000 political federal employees comes from user OddRuff9732. We are the last line of defense against fascism. Listen to this. To my fellow feds, especially veterans, we are at war. We watched this goon try to overthrow the government on live TV 4 years ago. Now we are witnessing him try to overthrow it from within. We are the last line of defense against fascism. If we leave, we will be replaced by loyalists. Read P2025. And for the love of God, please believe what is written, because that's what is happening. All the executive orders are directly from that document. I didn't dedicate years of my life serving this great country to be bullied into quitting my career by a bunch of fascists. We are being led by the same types of people our grandparents fought against in World War II. There's a guy that doesn't understand World War II. Actually, it's probably not a guy. It's probably a guy who thinks he's a girl. It's probably all types of weird shit, but it's not a guy. Now, the reason why this was funny to me is because it reminded me of the time where these feds, especially the FBI, doxed themselves in court documents by showing their own 4chan trip codes that they were in there fed posting, trying to incite people and trying to try to trigger people into saying, or I don't know, whatever the hell it was. I think it was all about Russia. Like you're being screwed by Russia. Like they're trying to incite people on 4chan, and because they were bringing some case to a United States court, I remember they doxed themselves. It was a hilarious story. We covered it on the show, and I thought it was going to be in some of my bookmarks, but it's not. Here's another one. Sarah of Bramblewood. Hold the line. We made an oath to protect the Constitution from threats. Is that what you did? Both foreign and domestic. Do they really all take an oath? Do they? So, here's another one. Our supervisor told us to stop posting on Reddit. We just had a meeting about employees posting memos and meeting topics on Reddit, and we were told to stop leaking information. Don't stop. The people deserve to know the information. The information is, and what is the information? You guys are mentally ill, and less and less people want you working there. I don't know what else you can go. You can go join a dance troupe or whatever else. Shakespeare in the Park. You can stab Julius Caesar and dress him up like Donald Trump. It's essentially what you're doing. So there's that, and I thought it was funny because, like I said, Reddit is a huge red flag. It really is. There are so many problematic people on Reddit. And I hope that it becomes a place that the Trump administration focuses on as far as surveillance goes on those particular subreddits. There's a lot of sick puppies in there. Sick puppies. Sick. Very, very sick shit. So that'd be great. It's almost like a holding tank or something like that, where you get to go into a diner or some sort of a seafood place. You can pick out your crab or your lobster. They're all right there. They don't hang out anywhere else. So take a look at it. All right, we'll be back. That's the end of the grab bag. I hope you're all in your regular seats. And when we come back, we're going to start hitting the big topics and opening up the lines for your calls. I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are too. We will be right back.
Hey, just wanted to see how that pause music was coming along. Now keep in mind, this is a movie tie-in video game from the Nintendo 64. Not looking for anything too crazy. What do you think about this?
stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's roll!
Hey guys. Jeez. What the hell's going on in the skies out there? I know probably some of you have already seen it, but what is this? Another plane crashed in the middle of Philadelphia? What the hell? Philadelphia plane crash. Wrecked vehicles. I'm looking at debris in the streets. What the hell just happened? Hold on a second. Wait a second. All right. Wait. Let's just see what happened here. Hold on. Ashton Forbes just put something out. Let me see. A missile door cam video of the event. Ashton Forbes says it's not a plane crash. Let's take a look at this. Hold on. Press play. Here's door cam. The hell? Okay, hold on. It's in the left side of the screen over here. I mean, that was coming down. That does look like a missile. But it also could just be a plane that what? Look, wait, it's zoomed in now. What the hell was that? Big plane crash in Philadelphia? Is there plane parts? Hold on, looking at some other footage here. Are there plane parts? Houses on fire? There's no footage there. I don't know what the hell's going on. If anybody's in Philadelphia, you want to call in 914-200-0269. I also want to open up the hotline for some other things going on. Oh, here's another one. What is this? Let me take this and open it up in another, in a bigger screen over here. Hold on. Take a look at this. 12-second, another door cam.
Yeah, man. She's yeah. All right.
Get the fuck out. No, that was a plane. That sounded like a plane. What the hell's happened? This thing's twisting out of the sky. It's coming down. One more time. What the? It's a plane. Jeez Louise. Wow. Okay. Well, listen, if anybody's in the Philadelphia area and you're watching this, give me a buzz. 914-200-0269. So it's just, I mean, I don't know. That's just insane, man. So obviously, this is all happening just as we're starting the show. At least that's when I'm witnessing it here. But I don't know. There can't be much known about this aside from all the insane footage that's being collected from people's door cams and stuff. But from the first look at Ashton Forbes footage, I can see why he said it was a missile, because it came down so quick, and there was no audio. That other thing we just watched, I mean, you can hear the screaming of the engines. Unless missiles sound like that. I doubt it, though. Okay, so I guess we're just going to have to watch this one. I have no clue what else to say. and I'm just gonna leave the things open. Here's another thing here too. I'm gonna open up a hotline. Let me just put this out here first, and then maybe once this the excitement on this calms down a little bit, we can do. There's not a sufficient enough. Oh, God have mercy. God have mercy. Now I ran out of memory. I ran out of memory on the computer. Boy, I hope it doesn't kick me off. Jeez. Okay. So there, you know what? Let me, great. Thank you so much for that. All right. Let's take a call. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Frank.
Hey, who's this?
Patrick.
Yeah. What do you know? What do you know, Patrick? Go
I
ahead.
don't know anything about the Philadelphia thing there, but I do know we are getting.
Okay. You got to turn it off, Patrick.
I turned it off.
Okay.
Yeah. What I wanted to call initially was the petty breakups thing.
Oh, we haven't gotten to that. We haven't gotten to that yet, Patrick. Yeah.
You don't want to hear my breakup story?
Yeah, a little bit later. Thanks for the call, Patrick. We haven't gotten to it. So yeah, I guess we'll do that in a little bit. You know what? While we're on this, I just want to throw out all of the stuff that we saw that continues to come out with DC now. Let's just put this all together, because then I want to let you know the hotline that we're going to open up just for people that are pilots, especially if you're military, if you can, because there's a military edge to what we saw in DC with the military helicopter and the commercial jet. Here's a little bit more. I think this is footage that was collectively obtained by CNN, but there's so much floating out there now because there's a camera on everything. So I'm sure what just happened in Philadelphia is going to be analyzed from 1,000 different angles over the next couple of minutes. So let's go here. This is from the DC Reagan Airport.
These videos obtained exclusively by CNN show previously unseen angles of the collision between an American Airlines flight and a US Army Black Hawk helicopter. In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen.
Right there.
The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a mid-air explosion and fall into the river.
I mean, guys, when you look at this...
In the second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other. After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water.
Yeah, water. So listen, when I'm looking at this, and I was throwing out to you guys and gals all of the things that were being discussed last night, I'm wondering about what the hell is happening. I mean, there's more angles of this thing, which is always the case. When does an error become deliberate in some way? Is it all, I mean, I have no experience in this line of work, so all I have is my untrained eye. And seeing a military helicopter, which has all of its, collision lights on, it's flashing. It's not blacked out like people were, first reporting. I mean, it's got all types of flashing lights on it. And it seems like it's making a conscious decision to intercept this commercial jet as it was landing. They even have the radar flight paths that have been published and all that stuff where you can see this decision. And it's not like there's a blind spot or anything. They're essentially playing chicken. I don't know how one is not tracking the other. So what is going on with that? And what do you guys think? Here's another thing on that respect. So I guess this is really going to dominate the show now. Who knows about the petty breakup story? Second half, we're going to have to do some Friday related stuff. But listen to this. Here's from Nick Sorter. He also said, Nick Sorter says this on Twitter last night. Just 24 hours before an American Airlines flight collided with a Black Hawk at Reagan National Airport, another American flight had to abort landing due to a helicopter crossing its path at the same airport. American Airline 4514 can be seen on radar having to go around and make a second attempt and is currently under investigation. This should not be happening. Now, it's coming down to a few camps are forming on this. Some people are saying that air traffic control was inundated with duty and they were understaffed. That there are some people there doing, pulling double duty, trying to do the work of two people. Of course, that opens up all types of political possibilities of going after Donald Trump because they're like, oh, he's freezing, freeze on hiring and a freeze on DEI and getting rid of all that stuff. But that was a couple of days before it, and there has been. This is how I would have to imagine this is how the airport, the whole area had been run for a while. Why it's getting out of hand right now, all at once. And now this thing in Philadelphia, who the hell knows what's going on? Is it air traffic control? Is it deliberate? Some of you out there who know what's going on, I see some calls coming in right now. Keep them coming. I'll get to you in a second. For those of you who know, on an aeronautical standpoint, please give me a call if you're a pilot, military, or anything like this, to tell me, especially if you listen to the air traffic control chatter or anything, was there something not being done properly in that respect? Is there a blind spot issue here? I don't understand how that could be. Because it just seems like the heading of the helicopter was in full view of this plane coming in, and there was plenty of time to divert, to pull back, to hover, letting it pass. I don't know what you can do at the end. What? I'm not a pilot, but if you are in that line of work and you have some kind of special insight into this, please call the hotline. That is 914-369-1236, 914-369-1236. You just give us a call. All right. Everybody else, 914-200-0269. Let's take a call. Brian, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, how you doing, Frank?
I'm doing all right.
I got you. I muted my stream and got you off a speakerphone. And
Great.
Here I am.
So what do you got for me?
We spoke not that long ago. I'm the golf course guy from Kentucky, but I mentioned to you that I had been a Navy helicopter pilot.
Okay.
And as far as what little really information we've been given that you can count on, because like yourself, I've learned not to jump to conclusions. But that the airliner had turned on to final approach. So it would be descending and it would basically be under, control of the tower.
Okay.
Supposedly the helicopter was on a training flight. Now, were they training in IFR, which is instrument flight rules? In which case the trainee, if they were at the controls, their vision for outside would be blocked. And the so-called instructor, or the person filling in as the instructor, would be observing the pilot. And again, if you're under, and we don't know if they were or they weren't, but they were saying it was a proficiency training flight. One of the big things you train on is instrument flight rules, much different than visual flight rules. And what has been said is that the tower was understaffed because somebody went home. That hasn't been confirmed. But the voice frequencies wouldn't be the same. So whoever was in control of those two aircraft would have to be toggling between two frequencies. And we don't know much about the person in the control tower, if they were experienced, if they, if they just got overwhelmed, literally pressing the wrong button, and if the person that was at the controls of the helicopter couldn't see that aircraft would have been coming at them from their upper left, which would be about 10 or 11 o'clock high. And then the aircraft coming in, the helicopter would be at about 2 o'clock low. Now the helicopters have not just the navigation lights, the port side, left side, red light, the starboard side, green light, and the aft portion, which would be a white light. They also have two rotating beacons, red, like police lights, one underneath and one above.
So so Brian, who should have seen whom at this point? And
well, that's the thing. The helicopter should have seen the airliner.
And let me ask you this
Okay.
also. Let me ask you this other thing before, and I don't know why the hotline, of course, is not working. So I'm going to have to just ditch that and say to hell with Skype for tonight. But we have the main line open, 914-200-0269, everybody. General Mike Flynn, he retweeted something from Raw Alerts that came out an hour ago. And about an hour ago, it started getting around that officials from an NTSB announced that they will not release the flight manifest at this time. Do you think Mike Flynn says that this is not a good sign? Now, I don't know what the hell that means. I assume that it's just out of respect for the families at this point. But what do you think Mike Flynn might be? What do you think he might be hinting at? That it's not a good sign that the flight manifest is being withheld.
Meaning the person's on board. That would be the manifest.
Yeah.
And that could be to protect the families, but it could also be
to cover up
that includes the pilots
to cover up,
and flight crew. So who knows? I mean, some of the weird things that went through my head, like an act of terrorism, like the Fort Hood shooter. Was one of these pilots Islamist, and just tried to do something? I don't know. That's just a guess. But I think that the airline pilots, they were on final descent. So the helicopter would have been coming from their right side, the starboard side, and it would be low. And they're probably assuming that, hey, if this helicopter is going to be a problem, power is going to let us know. And they would have to add power and then try to climb. The helicopter, on the other hand, it's kind of heading towards where the plane is going to be.
Okay.
And they might be assuming that tower is going to tell them, hey, you're on a collision course. But just like all kinds of government equipment, it's probably 20, 30, 40 years old. And they don't really have, those scopes aren't 3D, they're a 2D representation.
Okay, well,
we're looking from above.
That I don't know. Maybe it was just because it's an outdated piece. So the one thing I was wondering, and thanks for the call, Brian. I want to get a couple more people in on this. The one thing I was just wondering is if anybody has been able to, and it's out there. Thanks again. If it's out there, is all of the chatter from air traffic control. So from anybody who listens to this stuff on a day-to-day basis. Was it sufficient, or was there something that was lacking in this operation? Everybody's trying to triangulate what the hell the issue is. Now another plane has just dropped into the middle of Philadelphia. Let's see, 615, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey Frank, yeah, just my 2 cents. They're not releasing the people that were on the flight. I feel like the longer we wait, we're going to find out there were people on board that were coming into D.C. that potentially were, of importance in terms of what's happening. But that's my 2 cents on it. It seems very deliberate. It doesn't seem like an accident. But I'm not an expert on that. I just see the video and it's not right. They've been landing planes in that area for how many years? And for this to happen the way it did looks just very deliberate.
Oh, hey, that's why I think I share your sentiments on that. But then again, what the hell do I know? So I'm trying that's why I'm just trying to, open the lines and encourage people who have something that they can bring in for a little bit more of insight, because I don't know. How can you not see that coming? It just all seems very weird. Thanks for the call, JM.
Absolutely, man.
All right, have a good one. Yeah, yes, little lady. You what? You're going to bed? You want to say goodnight to everybody else?
I don't want to. I don't have. But you.
You want to say just goodnight to me? Okay. What are you gonna? Here, come over here real quick before you leave. What are you gonna dream about tonight? Here. What are you gonna dream about?
Outer space. I'm gonna go and get married and have a little baby brother and sister.
You're gonna grow up and get married and have a baby brother and sister? That's not that's not how that works, but it's even better having to well, okay, so you're gonna be in space, you're gonna go into outer space tonight in your dreams, and then where are you going? Where are you going with your broccoli in your hair? Okay, well, have yourself a good night.
I'm going to go. I'm stay here all night with you.
You can't stay here all night. You have to go take a bath. Hey, listen.
No.
Isn't it a surprise?
No.
Isn't it a surprise?
No.
Hey.
No.
All right.
No.
Lemme, calm down. Go take a bath and enjoy yourself. Isn't it a special surprise that Daddy's doing a show from home tonight? He's supposed to be at the studio. Aren't you happy? Okay, get out of here. Get out of here, kid. You're bothering me. Have a good time. Kiss mommy for me. All right. All right, let's take some more calls. 914-200-0269. 914-200-0269. Jeremy, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Frank. How you doing?
How are you?
I'm just fine. Hey, I'm calling in about the plane crash, and I've been kind of chewing on what I heard in the radio and the airfield lay. I'm an air traffic controller.
You are an air traffic controller?
I was in the Navy for 10 years.
Okay,
yeah.
so
I've called before.
So have you listened to? There's like a 4-minute compilation of everything leading up to and shortly after the collision. Did you actually listen to the chatter and analyze it yourself?
I didn't hear anything after they gasped at the collision, but I heard 12 minutes prior and up to that point.
Okay.
What I don't understand is that controller knew that VFR helo was inbound going south, and then he told the CRJ to do a circling maneuver, making a conflict for himself, and he didn't resolve it properly. What I'm saying is he called traffic to the helo that the CRJ was there, and the helo responded, Roger, request visual separation, which that is normal. That's normal shit. And then he actually saw that there was going to be a conflict. He put himself into it, and then he called traffic again to the helo. The problem is he didn't call traffic to the CRJ and tell him where the helo was. You see, there's a concept called if you call traffic to one aircraft, it's traffic for the other aircraft as well. So he put himself into that conflict, and then he didn't resolve it properly. And now I've seen this before in qualified controllers, but they're inexperienced, and I'll guarantee you that's what happened. And it's unfortunate that the tower supervisor didn't catch this and make the correction. You should have heard a different voice key up and resolve it on the spot, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, see, this is why I want to hear from people is whether or not this is something that you think is I don't know, something that is a little bit more in the incompetence place or a human error. Because what I wanted to know from my standpoint, I look at that and I say I don't know anything. But I do know that this looks like
I understand.
It looks like one is steering itself into the other, and it looks like they had more than enough time to see all this unfolding in nearly slow. I know everything is going hundreds of miles an hour there, but still with these distances, it's still considered like slow motion, especially when we're watching it on the playback. So I really just wanted to see, unless people are coming from your standpoint, that there is something along the line of this game of telephone that went wrong. I also wanted to see for anybody who says that this is a deliberate operation, I want to know the theory about motive, because that's the one thing that is fuzzy for me. It looks deliberate, but why would it be? Unless, of course, the helicopter pilot has just had a moment of insanity and has taken over the craft and wanted to die, because I don't know what the hell I'm looking at here.
No, I don't think that's the case at all, Frank. What I think is the controller had multiple aircraft inbound from south, And the second, I think the second CRJ that was behind the one that crashed was inbound for runway 1. He had the first CRJ perform a circling maneuver to the right to land on 3-3. That's what I don't understand is the circling maneuver, because if you look at the aerodrome layout, there's no advantage to landing that aircraft on that different runway, because wake turbulence procedures are the same for same runway and crossing runway. It's the same. So I'm not getting that efficiency by reducing wake turbulence procedures. Also, if you look at the aerodrome layout, it's nearly the same amount of taxi distance to the main terminal, so you're not gaining an advantage there either. So not only did he not gain an efficiency, but it was also unsafe. And I don't know. It just
Okay.
I've seen errors like this, a minor slip in judgment, and usually the soup catches it. And that's called the tower team concept. That's straight out of the 7110.65. And it could have been avoided. And what I'm trying to say is that it looks to me like this controller made an error. He made two errors. He made a conflict for himself, and he didn't resolve it. And he didn't call traffic for the CRJ to tell him where the helo was.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for the insight, my friend. It's good to hear from you.
Thanks.
All
Have a
right.
good night.
That's Jeremy, everybody. So we've already had a couple of. Hey, there's that. Now I would love to take some more of your calls on this. There's just there's just more coming in on Philadelphia. I mean, actually, no, there's not. There's just everybody's posting the same thing over and over again and wondering what the hell your initial thoughts are with this new plane crash, which from some angles it looks exactly like a missile. And then when you get the up close angles and you can actually hear the whirring and wheezing and screaming of the plane engines, you know that it's, I don't know. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And it's right in the middle of a Philadelphia neighborhood. So what is it? Let's take a call. 724. What the hell's going on tonight?
Hey, Frank, how you doing?
I'm all right. Who's this?
This is Mike, long-time, third-time caller from Pittsburgh. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Okay, so you're a few hours away, but
yeah, I'm nowhere near that. I found out the news by turning into your show. I didn't even know something just happened in Philly. What happened? Was it a plane, they said, or you don't know?
Well, there is one angle. There is one angle that looks let me see here. Hold on a second. I'm going to put this up on screen.
All right.
Over here let me put it up on screen here. Now, this angle over here, which doesn't have any. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's a little language. There's a little audio to it, and you can actually hear at the end. You can hear the scream. But look, there's a little bit of a zoom in now, and you can see the trajectory of this one. Here it is. Look.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, the zoom in standpoint, I understand why people say that's not a plane, that is a missile. But then from this door cam over here that you're going to see on delay, it's something totally different, and you can actually see the lights of the plane cutting in through the cloud cover, and a far more pronounced sound of the engines. That this thing is just, there is nothing holding it in the air. Yeah, this one. Listen, here it comes. So that's something that's just, I don't even want to play it. I don't even want to play it anymore. But it's just all brand new right now, and everybody just, of course, there's the question of what the hell the craft even is at this juncture. Whereas with DC, we know it's a commercial jet and a military helicopter. This is coming out of the skies like a bat out of hell, and it's frightening.
I'm wondering if it's a drone, maybe.
Well,
they've been doing those. They brought up psionics and all that. Now you got these people out there trying to, I guess, create these crafts to come down and see them, or they have these radar jammers. They're trying to knock these drones out now. But my other thought was, I heard this afternoon that there was a Russian diplomat on that plane, and one of his younger daughters is an ice skater here, so I don't know if he has some kind of ties to this somehow, or I don't know. But that's just what I heard today, so I'm not
Well,
sure.
I knew about the Russian figure skaters. I didn't know there was a
Yeah, her parents were on there, and apparently her father is some big high up. And that's all I know.
Okay.
That's what I just figured I'd call in and let you know about that.
Well,
and I appreciate you replaying that Philadelphia thing for me, because I haven't seen anything else on that. But I'm just going to listen to other people's opinions. That other guy, he seemed a little more quite informed than me. He really knew what he was talking about. But I don't know if that could be. I mean, if that person left earlier and that helicopter was up in the air, why was it almost hitting another plane that same day? And if you look at the pattern, it looks like that helicopter is swerving towards some of these flight paths.
On the radar screen,
yeah,
it's making a left hook, and
yeah, I know.
and it's
right at it.
I know, and again, this is, when you think about the configuration and the orientation of the cockpit and in the flight path, you would think that you'd be able to see a plane.
Especially those windows are huge. Have you ever seen a Black Hawk? Like, the windows are like it has to be like 3 feet, 4 feet long. It's a big ass window. And if that guy was flying under whatever flight rules only, I mean, you can't look up. You can't see a light coming from your left. Even if the guy in the cockpit, they said there was 3 people on board. You're telling me not one of those 3, and they're not releasing any of the people on the helicopter's names either. So, I mean, who's to say that there was actually 3 people on that? I mean, there's a lot of things that could be messed up with this thing. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, well, thanks for the call, my friend. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Frank.
Yeah, absolutely, and I understand what he's saying. Yeah, who knows what the hell's going on? And that's the first thing I'm thinking. Even if you're saying, "Well, I'm going to keep tabs on my instruments," and you're also flying through active airspace. You're flying through active airspace at an international airport. Is Reagan national or international? I don't know. It's busy. So I don't know why you wouldn't just be gazing out your window. And that's what I think has gotten a lot of people really messed up, especially people who don't know and they're just looking at this as a layperson. You look at the radar movement, and you look at and then you look at the security camera footage that's coming in from all these different angles now, and you're saying, all right, well, what the hell was the helicopter pilot doing? What is the issue on the military? It's like the commercial jet pilot. What was going on with the commercial jet doesn't look like anything's out of the ordinary. It's just coming in. It's, in another 45 seconds, all those people on the jet are home free and safe. And in comes this, I don't know what the hell's happening. But now, of course, that is going to be competing for attention with what's happening in Philadelphia. First, let me read this. This is from Todd Starnes from Newsmax. He says the following. He says, a question about what happened at Reagan National. Last year, more than 1,000 people filed a class action lawsuit against the FAA alleging that they were denied air traffic controller jobs because they are white. Former Nevada Attorney General Adam Laxalt said his clients passed the test to become air traffic controllers. However, the Obama administration said that the class was too white and tossed the test along with the applicants. In 2012, the FAA stopped race-blind hiring rules and implemented a biographical assessment to hire more minorities. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. The Daily Mail reported last year that the FAA launched a campaign to hire recruits with, quote, severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and physical issues. We read that in January of 2024. That was in January of 2024. We were reading and talking about those stories. I guess if we ever leave New York again for, Then again, when was the last time I was on a plane? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Elon Musk tweeted at the time that it would take an airplane crashing and killing people for the FAA to change its crazy DEI policies. Right now, the death count stands at more than 64. Okay, so that's what this one guy from Newsmax is standing by on. That this was unqualified air traffic controllers who were essentially promoted into these positions through Obama administration initiatives that are based solely on racism. Which would I be surprised if that's at least a factor in any of this stuff? I mean, that's why so much is actually going down the shitter all over the place, because this kind of world view is dictating so much of how industry is man. I mean, it's not just the government. We were listening to Larry Fink of BlackRock talk about how through his financing of so many sectors of the world economy, they can literally twist the arm of corporations to change their culture and have it filter down to people and really make the whole, make the world say uncle and do whatever the hell they were going to do with diversity and equity and inclusion nonsense. 3 words that are completely terrible. Terrible to hear now. Inclusive, diverse, equitable. You might as well be saying something graphically. It's an obscenity now. And then I know exactly what kind of bullshit you're trying to throw at me now. And I know that you guys feel the same way with that. But that's from Todd Starnes at Newsmax. Now, this just came in from by way of Doc Keck. He just retweeted something that Nick Sorter is putting together. Update: the plane which crashed in Philadelphia just a little while ago appears to be a Learjet 55 air ambulance from Mexico. It seems to have crashed shortly after takeoff from Philly Executive Airport. No word on what caused it to crash into the ground like a missile. What's this?
Misericórdia. E era avião relacionado com alguma coisa de emergência. Caramba, mano.
Okay, it's a very small video.
Que loucura.
It's a guy, I guess, standing over part of the hull. You want to call it that? I don't know what it's called. Fuselage? I don't know what it's called.
Entendendo? A loucura que tá isso aqui. E o tanto de peça. Olha lá onde tem fogo ali, ó.
I'm just skimming through this thing. So, I have no clue about this. But, of course, you know how all of this is going to be used. How this all fodder. Mexico. Mexicans can't. This is from Doc Keck. It was from Mexico. Mexicans can't go through the border by foot, so now they're using illegal airplanes. What? So it's the airplane. This airplane is illegal. I don't get it. I don't know. I don't know what's happening here, but this is all going on. Damn, I think what makes a plane go down like that? What makes it go down like that is a real thing. It almost looked like it was going down in a ball of flames. That's what makes it look like a missile. It almost looked like it was being trailed by sparks or something. Was it shot down? Was there some kind of severe technical failure? Anyway, this is only the beginning. I'm sure the news cycle is going to do a number on this one. Okay, you know what? Let's go on a quick break. There's not much we can do on this as well. So when we get back, we're going to jump into a little bit of pettiness on the Senate side of things with the Supreme the hearings. If there's anything in here that would be interesting, and then I would like to go into petty breakups and just open the lines up. Even if you have something to talk about, doesn't matter what you have to talk about. You call in, and if you have the bonus of petty breakups and anything else, I mean, what are you going to do? It's Friday night. We should be able to hang out. Now that the planes are just falling out of the sky. You know, Keith Olbermann is probably putting together a series of tweets that are going to go until about 6 o'clock in the morning, blaming Donald Trump for every last mid-air collision that is coming our way now, because there has been a hiring freeze So just like, what is that? And just ask people when you see this, because it's inevitable. You're going to see it all over the place. What did a hiring freeze and a moving away from meritless hiring practices? What did that have? What impact did that have on the people who obviously still have jobs and weren't fired? These pilots, the air traffic controllers, what's happening? If they are understaffed, how is that a result of what's been going on the last 10 days since Inauguration Day? So that's the other thing you're going to have to contend with. There's a lot of really sick individuals out there who are just not going to be helpful in asking good questions, because they're only out there to focus on their obsessions. All right, we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out to press the like button. Thank you.
You are now entering Quite Frankly.
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 Quite frankly. Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly, guys.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
Quite frankly.
So everybody watch. Quite frankly. With Frank.
Quite frankly.
How dare you?
All right. So hello, everybody. We all back over here, and I hope that is just so incredibly exciting to you, though it's not exciting when planes are falling out of the skies. Hey, I just got a little bit more on this. It says that about six people were on board that particular plane. Didn't it sound like it was bigger than a six-seater? Medical transport flight, 2 pilots, 2 doctors, a patient, and a family member. But to Mexico, though? Let me see here. There's an interesting thread. My producer Krista just sent this my way. Interesting thread just popped up. An observation. I think this is on GLP. DC plane was from Kansas, and now a plane crash in Philly. Super Bowl symbology. It is a Super Bowl matchup indeed. Damage on the ground seems like there might be more loss of life. It is a Friday night after all, near a mall or in a mall. A couple of weeks before Valentine's Day. Let's just pray that it's not. I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot, man. I'll tell you. Now, there's a little bit more that's coming out right here from Raw Alerts. This was earlier on today. Former senior advisor to the Federal Reserve, John Rogers, has been arrested for leaking trade secrets to China. Well, I hope that the prescription for treason is still the same after all these years. I'm pretty sure that it is. I mean, there's a lot happening right now, and where the hell am I? Am I here? Oh, you guys don't. Sorry. Oh, you guys couldn't see me. Oh, if you're listening on podcast, something changed for you, but everybody else was just looking at a black screen. The Gilded chat room was telling me. Thank you, Black Orchid. Thank you so much. All right, so let's take a little bit of time to, I don't know, I guess take another call. I'm just going to go with the flow on this one. Hello, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Frank, my friend, what is up in the larger world realities that we're witnessing? And I'm sorry, I'm drunk, but I'm fucking sober and I can talk. I got 3 talking points. I'm going to throw it together real fast for you. It sounds insane.
Great.
Nancy Kerrigan, the girl from Ronin, the movie with Robert De Niro, where it's centered around Russians and ice skaters. They love to use these themes. This is literally like, okay, imagine like our senators and the way they question and the way they talk. They're complete actors at this point. God knows why they're still hanging on. But They are part of the larger narrative. Now, I'm going to get lambasted for this, but I'd be lying if I didn't say in my acting heart of hearts that Nancy Kerrigan, if you fucking watch that video of her crying over her dead students and tying it into like a weird, like they throw this shit in weird places, and you really got to be there to pick up on it. But anyway, dude.
Okay. Well, okay. So
like,
I see that. I see the lines you're drawing there. Thank you for the call, my friend. Yeah. There is a big there's a big show aspect to this, and you can call it synchronicity. Is it part of something planned? That's whatever we always try to get to the bottom of. Nobody wants to ask that question. I mean, you're probably going to, as far as what's coming out of Philadelphia right now, limit what you're going to be looking at, because now we're seeing some civilian tolls. There's some people on the ground out there in Philadelphia who are just walking around on fire. There's some horrible things going on. What is it? What is it? If you're in that area, if you're in that neighborhood, you think that you're getting bombed. So do you guys see any, where's the symbolism strongest for you right now? 914-200-0269. I mean, we'll go to the super chats, 914-200-0269. So listen, last night we had a couple of super chats that were actually posted after I got off. One was from Revolution, says, as someone who lived through the pinnacle of MTV and the Guns N' Roses era, it's hard to hear about a dude named Steve Adler. Yeah, I know. To be a nerd scientist and not a kick-ass drummer. I know. That's why I said that's it. Not only that, Chris Adler. No, who's the other Adler? He was the drummer for Lamb of God. Still is. I think he's an Adler as well. Pretty damn good drummer. Let me see. Stove, great guest tonight. That was last night. Thank you. So Rev, Jay Brits, and Stove, I don't know why Stream Elements posted that after the fact. Jay Britt says, Frank, Fox 29 is reporting at least 6 people killed in Philadelphia plane crash, 2 pilots, 2 doctors, and a patient. Where were they getting airlifted to? Airlifted with a plane. Like, what was the situation? Like, obviously it doesn't matter. There's a lot going on over our heads that we don't know about. It's not like that's the reason why it went down. But still, it's just insane. All right, let's see. The lines are open, and I'm just going to let's go into the daylight savings time. You know, I had a really nice thing planned for tonight. I thought we had a good balance, a little bit of funny stuff coming out of the Senate, a little bit of funny stuff with the breakup stories. I guess I can push that off a little bit. It's already 10 after 8 over here. And then just a little bit more of a touch on what was going on with DC, because I wanted to know who out there can give us an in on this. You know, where are you guys on this? Pilots and military, especially if you're out there. If you're in the camp that thinks that what was going on in DC in the air is deliberate, please call in and include with your working theory a motive. Please include it with your working theory, a motive, because that's what I'm most interested in. Now, obviously, then it's now sharing a terrible kind of spotlight with, something we do not see anymore. Some people might say, oh, air traffic, airliners have issues all the time, and now this is not like that. We're not hyper fixating on stuff and whatever. This is not very often. It's not very common that we have these mid-air collisions between military and commercial aircraft. And then of course this just falling out of the sky in suburbs of major metropolitan areas. Let's take a call. 407. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Frank, what's up? This is Derek from Orlando.
Hey, Derek, go ahead.
My working theory is that this was a VIP flight. We know these helicopters, these helos can be controlled remotely. I think it was a message to the incoming administration that you guys ride on these helicopters and we can do what we want with them. Kind of a shot across the bow to get people to fall in line. I think that's got to be the motive. It looks like that helicopter was taken over and flown straight into that jet. Whether it was a suicide mission by a pilot or done remotely remains to be seen. But if it was done remotely, that's got to be the message that's being delivered, man.
I would hope. See, now, I would hope that there was who's in charge of that investigation. If anybody found that there was some sort of a takeover of that helicopter, and it was flown remotely against the will of the pilots, especially against the will of the pilot, where it was just commandeered, some kind of an override. And I remember people like John Brennan talking about that. I remember John Brennan saying something about how we would have remote control helicopters and we wouldn't even need pilots. He said a lot of very weird things that would kind of, as far as foreshadowing goes, and other admissions about chemtrails and whatever. But let me see. I appreciate your anything else you want to add to that, Derek?
Yeah. I was talking to my buddy about it. He said, "Well, how do we tell?" And I think if it was a suicide pilot, my assumption is that there will be bullet holes in the other two occupants when they recover the bodies. If it was a suicide by pilot, if it was remote control, then I think the bodies would be intact. That's just my 2 bits.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, I think that would make a lot of sense there too. And I would hope that with the new administration, you'd want, if you were Donald Trump right now, what would you do?
I'd come right out in the open with it.
Just to make sure.
And put it out in the open, because these guys operate in the dark. That's their superpower. Take it away.
All right, man. Well, I think a lot of people would agree with you on that one. I would say, and thanks for the call, Derek. If you're Donald Trump and something like this happens, especially if it has to do with a military plane, I think, from what he has talked about in public so far, it has been all about, questioning just how well the system's set up to manage air traffic in these very sensitive areas. And where is the staff coming from? And are they well resourced? Whatever the hell. I haven't really seen anything that insinuates he's going deeper with that. But if, let's say, somebody in Donald Trump's position had it in their minds what Derek is saying, then you've got to make sure that crime scene is being handled by people that you can trust 100%, to make sure that there was no shenanigans outside of perhaps staffing, a confluence of human error, or something else. Something that isn't a message. Oh, we understand it's a message. Well, if it's a message, then there's got to be some kind of clue left behind to leave no doubt so that the message is received. That's what I would say. Where's that here? Is this it? This is from 2013. John Brennan, Obama's drone warrior. Could just be talking about drones, but I think he was talking about helicopters. If there's an emerging Obama doctrine to deal with the threat from Al-Qaeda and its allies, remember it's 2013, it's clearly a rejection of the use of conventional military forces and growing reliance instead on the use of drones and U.S. Special Operations Forces, and Brennan has been central Obama's policy. In April 30th speech, the Woodrow Wilson Center in Washington, Brennan laid out the rationale for the drone policy in a more detail than any administration official had done publicly hitherto. He asserted that the drone strikes are lethal both under the authorization used for military force passed by Congress after the September 11th attacks and because, quote, there is nothing in international law that bans the use of remotely piloted aircraft for this purposes or that prohibits us from using lethal force against our enemies outside of an active battlefield, at least when the country involved consents or is unable to or unwilling to take action against the threat. Now, let me see here. Helicopter. Where is it? Where is the helicopter? I just want to see where this is. Give me a second. Where are you? I'm looking for any term on this, on the, well, it's not in there. I remember this. Maybe I'm looking in the wrong spot. Obviously am. All right, let's see. 914-200-0269. You know what? It's Valentine's Day is in 2 weeks. I guess we'll do the petty break. Shit. I'm kind of like frozen with indecision over here. Let's take a call. Oh, it's King. How are you, King?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm all right.
Hey, so listen, I seen this on another podcast, and I ain't gonna say which one because I refuse to promote other podcasts on your show. But there was releasing of things that this was like a tranny dude that posted anti-Trump shit online, which was the pilot. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that is coming out. You know what I'm talking about? I've heard that. And I would recommend you and other people look up Patty Murray. There was, I don't know if she's a congressman or a senator, but back in, I believe it was 2014, and she's a Democrat as well, I believe. In a Senate hearing with some dude with the FAA, she was pointing out the dangers of DEI in the FAA.
Okay. Yeah, I had to dig that up, but I know that.
Well, you know what? I'll send it to you when I hang up with you. I have the article about this Patty Murray broad. So again, I'm not saying this is what it is, but we got to look at all angles. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's plenty of that, whether it be this Patty Murray exchange or there's been other people who I've jumped all over this because whenever it's pushed, there's usually somebody speaking out against it, and of course they're shouted down as a racist and everything else. But
of course,
this is something that's that we're been getting used to at this point, and I think that is the whole issue with the flight manifest for the helicopters being delayed in the release. There's two camps of people under there. One of them say that, okay, well, this is just standard because they're probably trying to respect the privacy of the families of all of the military personnel who are.
I can see that.
Whatever. And then there's the other side, like you're saying, which other people, I've seen the speculation all over the place, is that what is the identity of the pilot and what is going on there? Is it somebody on the in the alphabet world? Are they trans or whatever it is?
The podcasts I watch, and again, I'm not going to promote them. I refuse to on your show. I don't do that. But they brought up screenshots of this dude, and it is a dude, whether he wants to be or not. They posted screenshots of him and his anti-Trump rhetoric that he was posting online before this happened. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But it's definitely something to be taken into consideration at this point.
Well, everything's on the table.
Nothing's off the table at this point.
Absolutely. Everything's definitely on the table. I mean, there's just right there in the middle of Philadelphia, there's a really devastating scene I'm seeing here. It's right in the middle of a just one thing after another. Anyway, okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for the call, King.
Thank you for taking my call, sir.
Anytime. Yeah. Well, I guess we're just flying off the seat of our pants here and taking your calls as this stuff goes down. Well, okay. So here we have it. Another angles that are coming in, but 202, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Oh, hi, Frank. This is Michelle from Washington, D.C.
Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Well, I'm calling to tell you about some local coverage here. Just hours after the crash, the local station here announced that there was a body recovered. And, so everybody became excited and hopeful and stuff like that. And then haven't heard a word about that since. And on X, if you get on X, on the Rubber Ducky site and also into Thin Air, there is some information that covers this. There's pictures of a flag draped coffin being transported, and
what does that mean?
Well, on the Rubber Ducky, it says either this is one of the victims from the Black Hawk helicopter or something else entirely.
What's this something else entirely?
I don't know what it is, and nobody knows what it is, but it's suspect that it seems like this is a body, so-called body that was recovered.
You all right?
Excuse me. And it was on X yesterday.
But of course, the body would be recovered. The two aircraft, everybody's dead on it, and one of them's a military aircraft. So you would expect some of those bodies to be draped in an American flag. So that wouldn't shock anybody. What's the shocking alternative? Did they say?
No. Like I said, nothing else was mentioned about the so-called body that was recovered.
Okay.
Because after that, it was all became a recovery thing. That everybody's dead and that's it.
Yeah.
But for some reason, there's this footage here of a flag-draped coffin being transported.
I've seen it.
You see it?
Yeah, I have seen it.
On the Rubber Ducky?
No,
Okay.
no, not on the Rubber Ducky. I've just seen it. So
Okay. And then have you checked out Into Thin Air?
I know, I know that account too. Listen, there's thanks for the call. Now I'm getting feedback. There's a lot of accounts out there that jump on things like this, and they're very adept at quickly throwing together montages of things and putting narration on top of it, and I don't know, some of it is interesting, and a lot of other releases are just sensational things that are dead ends. But I saw the flag draped coffin. I didn't really think too much of it. If somebody says this is either a recovered military body that's being transported and showing the kind of respect that you would expect that to be, that's almost like standard operating procedure in many cases, or something else entirely. Well, tell me what the something else entirely is, because I can tell you that, there's a candy bar. Here's a candy bar that I've wrapped up in a small American flag. It could be a candy bar inside this thing, or it could be something else entirely. What is it? I don't know. Just tell me. So there's only so much I jump into, because I like hearing what people think, especially if the people of expertise from aviation or anything else. That's always very interesting. And then there's just things that we see that seem to have no explanation, at least not at first. And I always say that it is our responsibility to at least start speculating, because where the hell are we going to get anything from anywhere else? But sometimes the speculation can run really, really wild, very, very fast. So yeah, let's keep this going, I guess, because we're already like in 3/4 of the way through the show, and there's nothing really else coming out. I mean, there's aerial footage now. They got the news choppers up in the air and drones, and you're seeing the devastation in this one particular block. It's not a big plane, so it's not leveled. I don't see anything that's cratering, so I don't think it's a missile. But it's definitely dropped right in the laps of some civilians. 984, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey Frank, how you doing?
I'm doing well. What's up?
I gotta mute you, I gather.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Well, Ashton caught that on film. Now I'm 68 now, and I've been in this my whole life, and I'm here to tell you, he caught that on film.
Who?
I saw that zigzag, 1 flight, 2 flight, 3 flight, 4th flight taken out.
Wait. What are you talking about?
You didn't see that?
What? Wait. Who?
When the helicopter came in.
From DC, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was caught on. It was caught on film from multiple angles. Now that we were looking at a little bit of it.
Well, what I had seen, it came in, and you got the 1 flight. It was a near miss, like it was trying to.
Oh,
cause an
okay.
accident.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
One,
I had
two,
seen
3,
that.
and then 4, it was taken out.
See, I read that somewhere, and then I was looking for confirmation on that story today, and all I had found was that one spot from Nick Sorter about how there was another American Airlines flight that had to do another loop around because there was helicopter activity in the area that was currently being investigated, but there was no one saying that it was the same helicopter. What you're saying right now, I have heard and read from other places, not just on Twitter, but on other places that are that usually debate and talk about these things. That this helicopter that eventually took the commercial jet down and got everybody killed was making multiple attempts to throw itself in the way of other jets, and I haven't been able to confirm that anywhere, though I've seen the story getting around.
Well, I didn't see the story. I saw the actual flight path, and then when you think about it,
Where did you see what flight path? Where did you see it?
I've been watching like dozens of these videos. Frank, I will get it and send it to you.
Okay, all right. So then you have
it was like incredible. And then you're scratching your head and wondering, was that the training mission? Because when you really look at it reasonably, how it dodges in and out, it's really crafty and like it's doing a mission of some sort and then goes straight into that. Now, my experience with the way we have this peaceful transfer of power every inauguration, when they do that, that is through the eye of the lens. That is not what really happens behind the scenes.
All right.
It turns into a mob war.
Okay. Well, we'll see if
and
this
now
is.
President Trump got back in, and this is really an attack. Reagan National Airport, right there.
Okay, so caller.
And now we got Philadelphia and Ashton caught what hitting it.
Ashton didn't catch anything. Somebody posted what has already been caught by somebody's dash cam or a ring cam, and from that angle it looked like a missile that far off, but the closer one seemed like it was, and thank you for the call, a plane cutting through the low cloud cover and just plunging down into the street in Philadelphia. Is this an attack? Is this human error of the pilots or those who are supposed to be controlling it? Is it technical failure for this one today in Philadelphia, where you have there's no collision of two aircraft. There is just one aircraft that I just shoots down to earth. Like, what the hell was that all about? So I don't know. Is it a message sent? There are so many angles you can come at it, and I'll accept them all. Just make sure you bring a motive. Last caller had a motive. It's a message to Trump. They want to go after him. So I mean, this seems, I don't know. It's pretty out there right now for everything. 703, you're on the air. What's going on, Jules?
Hey, Frank. Nothing much. Just watching the activities like everybody else is.
Yeah.
I had to step away from the show for a little bit, and so I wanted to know if anybody had reported that supposedly the plane that went down tonight was a medical flight.
Yes.
And okay, so you guys have already covered that. Yeah, because if there's oxygen on board, that's what's going to make that big fireball like that. But lastly, just real quick, I knew the mother of a guy who he went to Embry-Riddle. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's a big flying school. He and 3 other guys, top candidates. This is back in 2014. They were just waiting for a hiring freeze to be lifted, and Obama was like, "Nope, we're going to go with a diverse group of people." They threw their paperwork out, hired a whole bunch of people, and those candidates actually ended up like washing out of the program because they couldn't keep up or whatnot. And so they tried to sue the government, which, you know, is somewhat comical because where do we ever see that working? And they just really did it to these 3 guys. And the one guy whose mother I knew, he aged out of the program. So he had studied and worked so hard for that. And then it was like, "Whoops, sorry. You're not the right color."
Yeah, you know, I got this here, and listen to this. I got this email that came in from, I'll call him Mr. R. And I wanted to talk about this in particular when it comes to, you know, there's so many rats out there that are freaking out because of the downsizing of the federal government and with abandoning diversity criteria in particular.
Yeah.
And I got an email from one of our viewers who works at the Pentagon, at the DOD. And he says, he says, "Frank, every minute of every workday is accounted for here at the DOD. I have fought, written countless resumes for promotion, done half a dozen interviews in a specialized field of naval aircraft preventative maintenance over the last 22 years. Through 6 promotions and 1 lateral reposition in my midlife length career. Let me humbly and knowingly speak for myself, or for more than myself, at the DOD. We are loving this push to eliminate the people who were gifted higher paying federal positions in this climate and the diversity climate, and consultant, climate this and diversity that, consultant this and senior advisor that, allowed to stay home 5 days a week while being paid more than us, never having to earn their spot the way that we did in the first place, or those who don't do their jobs and leave their workload to be carried by the rest of us. A special note, Department of the Navy federal employee, alignment is heavy to the right. The wait is finally over. Good fucking riddance." And signed Mr. R. So you're
that's perfect, because that's one of the reasons why I got in as a federal employee in 2011, and I got in there pretty high as a GS-12, the next step up as a supervisor. And I did it for 3 years. I was good at my job, but as you said, I walked around, I was watching people like filing their nails, painting this, ordering clothing. And since I only had 3 years in, I wasn't, some people, if they've had like 15, 17 years in, they're trying to make it, to that retirement.
Yeah.
I was just like, forget it. I'm done. I cannot sit by and do this any longer. So it's good to hear that, he has that experience, because where I was in the DOD, it was a bit of a different story.
Well, and thanks for the call, Jules. Jules, it's great to hear from you.
Sure. Same. Talk to you soon. Bye.
That's Jules from Maryland. Yeah, well, there's an example of it. And this is a guy who watches the show, 22 years, 6 promotions, 1 lateral reposition. And apparently a lot of people in that particular department love that there is going to be an absolute culling of this disgrace. And just like actual immigrants, people who have come from some other part of the world who want to be American, they want the American experience, they want it, they want to be a part of it. And they stood online and they studied, they did their tests, they put the money up, they have prospects here, they learn the language, and they are here, they're ready to rock. I know why those people, and there are many, many, many millions of them, can't stand the idea of an illegal alien who's being smuggled into this country, or at least called here by numerous political organizations that know what they mean as a weapon, what they are capable of as a displacement weapon, an economic weapon, biological weapon, all that other stuff. They understand what kind of a insult it is to be equated, to both of them, to be equated as immigrants. Anybody who is given a career or injected anywhere on some kind of diversity criteria, which is all just about how not white are you, how can you be happy about that? I mean, some people just like, I don't care. Free money, free insurance, job security. You're telling me I have a team underneath me? I have some authority, some weight to throw around, and all I need is the protection of my skin or something like that, my sexuality, whatever. That is pathetic, man. It's really, really pathetic. And it might feel good in the meantime because you go out there and buy yourself a whole bunch of nonsense. But then things start crumbling. And then, of course, the resentment that is going to be established from the beginning when we're not talking. I mean, that it just gets worse and worse. And the fact that people have actually micromanaged, one thing to say, we want to make sure that this, we're going to give some opportunities to different types of people here at Food Emporium. You know, special work programs for people with disabilities. It's nothing to scoff at. Everybody should be able to be allowed to get the dignity to work one thing or another. But when we start talking about air traffic control, when we start talking about the military command positions or whatever the hell it is, fire, police, things where people's lives are on the line, invariably, the doctors, pilots. I mean, this is just, it does not do anybody a credit. Nobody a credit. Especially if you have race at the forefront of your mind at all times. If all you're thinking about is race, if you've been just brought up on this us versus them, black, white, brown nonsense constantly, and that's all you measure stuff by, then why the hell would you, I mean, that's just terrible. That has disabled you to such a degree that you can't see how affirmative action, wherever it's applied and whatever it is called, is not going to bring you any kind of lasting societal change. It's just going to just nothing. It's not going to bring you respect. It's not going to bring nothing like that. It's only going to bring suspicion and resentment. It undercuts the whole damn thing, but some people don't care about that. They just want their money. They just want their money, and they just want to pretend like they're the slave driver now because all they're thinking about is slavery. That doesn't exist. At least not in the sense that they think it does. 210, go ahead.
Yo, man, I'm trying to talk to Frank about Guantanamo Bay and some ideas I've heard about, you know?
Yeah, okay. Go right ahead. You're on the air. Okay, see you later. Dude, I guess they got spooked. But the Guantanamo Bay thing is interesting. We read about that. Not too long ago. Let's take a call. Lola, is this you, Lola? Hello? Okay. You guys, you're on a delay. You are on a delay. Let's take a really quick break. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Excuse me, we'd like you to have this flower. Excuse me, sir, would you... Donation to the Reverend Moon? Juice for Jesus?
Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism?
Help Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology?
More nuclear power?
So as expected, early, I'm seeing these reports that are coming in of catastrophic mechanical failure for the Philly crash, which makes perfect sense when you think about what you've seen there, what's coming down. But man, how catastrophic, and how much information is going to be taken from this. Now, we got 18 minutes left, and there is really no. I'll find some places for us to do some fun stuff with what I wanted to do tonight. Just gotta go with the flow, and this really fell into our laps. So just trying to see what people are thinking, what they're seeing out there, especially if they're from some part of the country. Even the daylight savings time thing I thought was interesting to do. So I'll just go through what's going on in the poll there, so it's not just a dead-end thing that came up and was never addressed. On Twitter, we had a few hundred people that voted. 67%, or 66.7%, said they would like to see spring forward be permanent. 23.3% said I would like to see fall back be permanent, and about 10.1% said keep things as they are. Let's just switch in October and March and just let everything go back to the way it's got to be. Now, the one couple of people that I've seen on this, including Nikki in the chat room, those in the minority who wanted fall back to be the standard, is the reason they come from that is because they want to see the sun at high noon. They want to see the sun directly overhead at noon. I guess that is it a symmetry thing? Is it I don't know what it. That's interesting. Like, here's one, Chef Charcuterie says, I want the sun to be at its highest point at noon, no matter where you are in the world, standard time. Imagine how long days would feel in the spring and summer. Winter days would still feel short with the sun setting early, but they're supposed to. Okay? So that's fall back? I want the sun, but wait a second. Wait, hold on. Wait. What the hell? This confused the hell out of me now. But over on on YouTube, we got about 500 votes or so. Actually, the votes are flowing in now. Over 500 votes, and 60% say please spring forward always. 15% say fall back, and 25% say I like it where it is. So I like it where it is. That's a quarter of it. That's reversed over here from Twitter. So a fallback is the original standard time. Okay, so that's right over. Gotcha. All right. Hey, well, listen. Honestly, I would get used to one or the other. I'd get used to it just fine. And it's not that much of an inconvenience to me at this point with changing the clocks, because most of the clocks change automatically. You know, I've been screwed over many a time in my younger years, thinking that I had an hour more or whatever or less. But that doesn't really happen anymore, unless you're using your mother's alarm clock from back in 1973, which is what I was using for a while. In which case, you better just stay on top of your shit. 715, you're on the air. What's on your mind tonight? It's just wide open.
Let me mute you here. All right. Oh, nothing.
Okay.
I was just talking about I wanted to talk about the fallback, spring forward.
Go ahead.
Doesn't matter. We have to decide if we want to lose our hour this spring and make it that, or if we want to wait till and enjoy the extra hour we get of sleep in the fall.
It
doesn't matter. They just shouldn't be doing it at all. There's just no good reason for it.
I know. I think that I would side with whatever's going to get me more sunlight, because
right. But there is what it is. Wherever I actually thought I would. It's not the same. I live in Florida now, and I'm from Wisconsin, and I'm like, literally, you get more days of sunlight because I'm in Florida, but it's actually less sunlight here. It doesn't stay light almost till like 10 o'clock like it did up north, because it stretches across the planet apparently. And up our way, it stretches across. We get a little bit dregs of it reflecting across the horizon. That's what they say.
Yeah, on June.
I just learned this.
Yeah, June 20th, we get. I think that the sunset is somewhere around 9 o'clock, 9:05. That's as long as it gets. But I would take that. Like you said before, you get one night, you get an hour extra sleep, because it turns back to like 1 a.m. Yeah, it turns back to 1 a.m. when it hits 2 a.m. and you get an extra hour sleep on one evening. I would rather take extra light.
Not worth it, yeah.
Yeah. Give me extra light over the course of weeks, and I'm fine.
Right. And I just wanted to say, I was going to call in the other night, but I couldn't get through. Just a couple days ago, I couldn't even take my two big dogs out for a walk at dusk, before dusk. Whatever it was here, 36. It was so, and my friends had said, they called me and said, "Do you have fog over just?" I'm like, "I shouldn't. It's dry here right now. It's in North Florida." And it was horrible. It was like a dry, almost like dry ice.
With the fog?
Yeah, and there was no moisture. I'm living right here by the Atlantic, not even a half a mile off the coast. I'm just a lot of trees in the neighborhoods.
This is around. Was this around the New Year when the fog was being reported all over the place?
No, this is just a couple days ago.
And it was still
another fog event. Yeah,
it still had
people are talking.
Powdery residue that they were talking about?
I didn't look for any of that. It's Florida. It's like God knows what I see out there every day. It's all new to me. I'm from Wisconsin, so I've got to get used to the terrain. But I didn't see any of that. I'm saying it's like a weird bug spray thing. They said that somebody was doing a controlled burn. But again, they've been doing these burns, or Canada's on fire, going on for a few years, where, even up in Wisconsin, where your whole days of just growth, like you guys had, just nasty crap in here. But this was just more like we're getting bug sprayed. And the thing was, there should be no reason that was happening. It was a weird dry feeling. It had a weird smell. This sweet. It wasn't like bad bug spray smell, but it was really weird. And I'm like, I'm not going out there. And I fully expected to get sick, because there was at the beginning of the year, remember, right before you got sick, you and me got sick on the same day. Came down with that weird, remember you were ET?
Yeah.
I was like, I should have called in, but whatever. Yeah, I was sick, and I kind of recovered fast, but I've been kind of feeling really since then. But I think I'm pulling away from it. But I just feel like we're just being poisoned.
Well, yeah, there'd
Our
be
animals show it, and
there's something that is, and thanks for the call. There's a lot. There's a lot that we're contending with, and I think the easiest thing to detect is what's going on when we breathe. These lingering coughs and everything else like that. The sky is strange. That the fog, that did not affect us over here, but I mean, they around Christmas time and the week between Christmas and New Year's, the spraying was incredible. It was just incredible. The whole sky was just being viewed through this very, very thick sheen of smoke. Whatever the hell you want to call it. They weren't clouds, and it's just not normal. So it's one thing to the next, and it comes in all forms. But yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that everything gets better when the sun comes out and it gets warmer. Because right now, the thing that really gets us all is that, and I know some people it's a hard time depending on what you do for work, but when that spring, that warmer spring sun comes out, because even when you get a nice 60-degree day, if you're in the sun and it's not really that windy, man, oh man, it can get hot. Get some sun exposure this year. Clean up your diet, get some sun exposure, and it'll help. It really will. Regardless of what they're throwing at you, you charge up like Superman. There's a lot more that we're going to be able to do, so we'll talk about that. Let's see. Before we go any further, tonight after the show ends, we have our Friday night programming that's coming up, and here's what is on the menu on QuiteFrankly.tv: Suspicious Observers, Mystery Cave, Collapses, Double Solar Storm Watch, 10-second songs, my brother. No Doubt in the style of Deftones, that just came out. Robert Sepper, Trump declares war on woke. Better Bachelor, the top guys aren't sleeping with all the women. They've quit too. What does that mean? Oh, the top guys have quit as well? So then what's going on? I'm going to have to check that out. Truth Stream Media, this question of RFK's hearing, is everything wrong with Congress? Oh, that's going to be great. Michael Knowles, you have to hear how J.D. Vance explained immigration. John Doyle, when a DEI BuzzFeed quiz replaced FAA hiring requirements. That's going to be relevant tonight. Tucker Carlson debates Pierce Morgan. That's going to be the second to last thing tonight. And then our usual Art Bell kicker. Art Bell with Ronnie Renee Foster and Laura Lee Mistia. That's Demons, Spirits, and Ghosts. So Friday night on QuiteFrankly.tv is getting kicked off in a few minutes, and I think you're really going to like it because there's a lot of great stuff in there. One thing to the next. I mean, there's so much. I'm saving all of the petty breakups thing, and we'll do it next Friday. I promise. What's that? Next Friday, the 7th? I think that's the 7th. Next Friday or the 8th. I think it's the 7th because Saturday's the 8th. Yeah. So next Friday is the 7th, and we will do petty breakups. And it'll be in theme. It's either that or I can save it for the Friday after that, the 14th. What I've decided, and I've talked about this with Lauren, is that on the 14th, we are going to do a show as a couple at the studio. If the studio works by then, me and Jim Lee have a lot of work to do. A lot of troubleshooting to do. It's us versus Microsoft. Just ridiculous. But we decided, I think, to do the show at normal time, 7 to 9, have Aurora hang out, all that stuff. We'll do like breakfast that morning. It'll be Saturday night that we go out. Because we like doing the show on Valentine's Day, but usually we'll do it at like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. a little bit earlier so that we can go to a reasonable reservation with Aurora somewhere. But, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But if you can do it at normal time, it'll be better because there's a lot more people that watch and they're not, you know, stuck in work and all that, especially on the West Coast. You do that at 5 o'clock. It's, you know, it's 2 o'clock in California. It's just untenable. So I said, yeah, well, let's just do 7 and 9. Maybe I'll save it for that. Petty breakup stories on Valentine's Day. That could be fun. Anyway, sometimes you put a plan together and then, you know, the rudder comes off the boat and planes start falling out of the sky, which is insane, but quite a week. Speaking of the week, we got 6 minutes left. Take a listen to this. Here's a pretty stunning minute and a half from Tulsi Gabbard talking to the senators that I'm sure, oh man, I really hope that this is all for real. And I'd like to see what kind of a steamroller this all could be if they really have the balls that they are pretending to have. Listen to this.
The American people elected Donald Trump as their president not once, but twice. And yet the FBI and intelligence agencies were politicized by his opponents to undermine his presidency and falsely portray him as a puppet of Putin. Title I of FISA was used illegally to obtain a warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, using a Clinton campaign-funded false dossier as their so-called evidence. Biden campaign advisor Tony Blinken was the impetus for the 51 former senior intelligence officials' letter dismissing Hunter Biden's laptop as disinformation specifically to help Biden win the election. Former DNI James Clapper lied to this committee in 2013, denying the existence of programs that facilitated the mass collection of millions of Americans' phone and internet records, yet was never held accountable. Under John Brennan's leadership, the CIA abused its power to spy on Congress, to dodge oversight, lied about doing it until he was caught, and yet has never been held responsible. Under Biden, the FBI abused its power for political reasons to try to surveil Catholics who attend traditional Latin Mass, labeling them as quote-unquote radical traditionalist Catholics. Personally, just 24 hours after I criticized Kamala Harris and her nomination, I was placed on a secret domestic terror watch list called Quiet Skies. Sadly, there are more examples. The bottom line is this must end.
Well, if by end you mean that it's time to start arresting people that have already gotten away and should be charged, that would be wonderful. Wonderful. I mean, she went on to talk about how Obama's essentially, the Obama administration funded and created Al-Qaeda, which is just, you know, a continuation of past boogeymen that have gotten out of control. And all that. And then we have RFK, which is going to be a big thing tonight. He's had enough of the charade. Take a listen to this. You probably see the Bernie Sanders exchange. This was wonderful. I loved it.
I'm going to make America healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? It's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, no,
and protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No.
I thought that would come up. And I have been preparing for this. Because I'm vulnerable. All the people here, I am vulnerable. I've been planning. You freak! Look at you, you old strange. You know how terrible he must smell. Bernie Sanders is probably the stinkiest senator out there. This is just look at this disheveled freak. Oh my gosh, he's gonna hold on to dear life to the very end.
I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
2020.
They came from workers of the pharmaceutical. Yeah, it wasn't the executives. It was a gigantic voting block of workers who, of course, wanted me to ruin them, to rein in their companies, make them liable for the products that they push, and potentially have their jobs go away. Yeah, sure. All those what were the workers voting for? For the jobs to go away? Come on. No, I wasn't beholden to the company, to the companies. I wasn't beholden to them. I was just beholden to all their workers.
Hey, in 2020, you were the single largest
Because I had
receiver of
full
pharmaceutical money.
contributions from workers all over this country. Workers,
You were the
not a nickel from corporate
Bernie,
tax.
you were the single largest acceptor of
workers-
pharmaceutical dollars.
No,
I hope that RFK runs this whole. I hope. I just please let just lay waste to them. Just please lay waste to them. So I can imagine what's going to be in the Truth Stream Media video, because it's true. To hear Elizabeth Warren and anybody else, ask ridiculous questions as, I guess, a primer. Are you ever going to take pharmaceutical money? No. Do you promise not to destroy the pharmaceutical companies, though? You promise not to sue them? You promise not to make them vulnerable to lawsuits? It's like it's incredible for them to say, now I am very skeptical, or I'm against big pharma, and I've always been an opponent of big pharma's lobbying and all that stuff. But here I am making sure that you just keep them in proper orbit and keep all. Let's just what's the orbit? Make trillions of dollars. Make trillions of dollars, and we'll work alongside of you. I mean, it's just hand in glove situation. Pfizer, and what's the other one? Pfizer in particular, though, that was almost $1 trillion. It was a $500 billion year in 2021 or 2022. That's because they had the government pushing their product. Okay, that's how it was. So, come on now. So these are some of the things of the week. We weren't able to do a lot of this. I don't know. RFK with this other one. Who's this other one? Also Brooks. This woman also Brooks. Is this a newbie? I thought it was fantastic what he did with her. Here's another one, just real quick, especially with the RFK thing. 1 minute 44. Then we're going to start hightailing it.
In your opinion, what makes a scientist or a doctor qualified to serve at the National Institutes of Health?
A scientist who's devoted to empirical methodology, to evidence-based science, scientists who understand the importance of replication, the importance of publishing raw data and being open and transparent about it, the importance of publishing peer review. We have NIH has overseen over the past several years the precipitous decline in American health. There's 91,000 people at HHS, and are you suggesting that some of them should not be held responsible for that decline? They were in charge of protecting our health.
Let me just insert here.
Let me just finish.
Let me just say this, because I only have 3 minutes left. I don't set the rules here, but I ask the questions, and the question is.
Oh, God, they love it. They all love it. Just power. A little bit of power goes a long way. Just love it so much. I don't set the rules.
Is really whether you intend, as you said, to substitute essentially your judgment for the judgment of these professional scientists. And doctors.
I'm not going to substitute my judgment for science. Of course, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do.
See, he's working again. He's trying to, if you're in Bobby's situation, you're trying to give a message to people who are watching who aren't insane. Because he's fighting with a woman now and other men and women before her and after her that are crafting questions that are based on ridiculous projections and assumptions. So this is not even about him trying to win over these absolute, crazy people. It's about letting the rest of the world see the difference between a runaway mind and somebody who's at least a little bit more focused. So, I mean, she asked questions. She kept getting the answers, but she literally could not hear them.
Listen, the New York Times just did an article last week talking about the fraud, the 20-year fraud, 800 fraudulent studies produced by NIH on amyloid plaques, and not allowing any other hypothesis about the cause of Alzheimer's.
Well, how
to be
will you
explored.
decide, Mr. Kennedy, which scientists
The ones
are
who
bad
are-
scientists?
the ones
Are
who
they
are-
the
who
ones
are-
who disagree with you?
The ones who are corrupt, the ones who have been doing science like the amyloid plaque studies that were fraudulent. We
Well, these
should
doctors,
not.
let me ask you a question. Do you have a medical degree?
Do I know?
That's the last thing. Well, what kind of degree? I mean, here's the thing. In what kind of degree, what kind of background should a senator have? She's a stupid woman, a very stupid woman, up there with a bunch of old stupid men. They are fucking dumb. You listen to these people. I mean, they're dumb without the script. When they're off script, that's when the stuttering starts. When they're off script. When they're on script, the script is a few lines long. And I mean, then you have to switch. Do you have a degree? They go to academic pedigree. That's what they pivot to. Because where are you going to go for this? So dumb. So dumb. And why? Why would you throw this protest up against somebody who actually, I don't know. He actually went on to talk to her about, she called him dangerous because he was citing a peer review study on how certain medications would be better for certain people of different races based on, antigen and or certain types of, what should I say? Certain types of antibody response that is, I would say a little bit more race-based, like if you're black, you have a better response to these kinds of things. You're more susceptible to these types of diseases, things in that, and based on that, those are certain things that should come into consideration when you are prescribing a medication or a vaccine or anything else like that. So here he is talking about peer-reviewed medical studies that were talking about differences between people of different races on a cellular and molecular level that could impact the way that they are treated for different conditions, or should at least be considered that. And she goes, "You're dangerous. What you're doing is dangerous." Because I don't know, maybe in her pea brain, she's thinking, you don't want black people to have the same vaccines as white people. Can't hear anything. They can't hear anything. They can't hear anything. It's not penetrating. And you can say, well, Frank, it's just an act. I think they do. No. Yes, some of them are just, they know what role they have to play and they are delivering it. Others are woefully unintelligent. Okay? But you have to understand, this is to be a senator in the United States Senate is middle management in the hierarchy of the power grid that runs the world. This is why stupid, malleable simpletons make up most of our Congress and the most visible parts of our government. It's not really prestigious. Okay? Their palms are greased with chump change when it comes to the money that is made at these defense contracting companies and the big pharmaceutical companies and all that. That's pocket change. That you can find that in the middle of couch cushions at the DOD and wherever the hell else things are going on. Pfizer, Moderna. You can find $100 million between the couch cushions out there. So also Brooks and all the other nitwits out there. I mean, that's oh my gosh, this is nothing. This is nothing. They actually would rather these stupid people be there because it makes intelligent people like you and I go insane. go insane. So, all right, that's all we have for tonight. Enjoy what we have coming up over the next couple of hours on quitefrankly.tv. I'll push off all of the relationship stuff for a couple of more days. We'll find a good time. Maybe it will be that Valentine's Day night, or maybe the Thursday before Valentine's Day on the 13th. Who knows? But we have a lot of great guests and obviously a lot of topics and time for speaking coming up soon. And I'll see you on Monday the 3rd, where we have a double dose of guests. Brendan Dilley in the first half, and then Rich Barris in the second half. So we'll see what develops from now until then. In the meantime, I'll catch you on the flip side. There's some great stuff going on quitefrankly.tv. And I will also be live on Twitch later on tonight, where I think we're going to play some zombies. Me and Mike and God knows who else. It'll be later on tonight, though. Just going to get a grip on things and plan out what I'm going to have to be doing for the rest of the weekend as far as getting the other studio in order. So, a Rubik's Cube. One thing after another, but it's fun. All right, guys. Have a wonderful night. Let me check the super chats before I go. Stowe Stoop says, great Friday night, Frank and fam. Enjoy the weekend. Jay Britz, and that was from before. Let me make sure that this is, yeah, that's all I see here. Over on Rumble, let me see. Yeah, I got to change all these things. Nope, nothing on Rumble. And then over on quitefrankly.tv, Sean Joe, thank you. Amethyst Cat, a jet rescue air ambulance has crashed. Kay Landry, doesn't Adel live in Philly? No, he's a Pittsburgh guy. C. Blanche, it's a mess, isn't it? Hell of a movie. All I can do is watch and watch this shit show. Stephen and Laurie says, when you're going to add president saying, quite frankly, oh, don't worry. Got a lot of things in the feeder right now, but no stud, all muffin, all best to you. Jimmy Carter's worst transgression was signing a Civil Service Reform Act, says Brew Bark. Stephen and Laurie again says, watch the DARPA video today bragging about having halos and small planes flying without pilots. Oh, it's very, very possible. From a technological standpoint, very possible. Now, the question is, who is going to be able to confirm that is what's going on? Has the president sent a special crack team that is truly independent and loyal to him to go over there and just make sure that there was no remote control aspect to this? I don't know. What will be made public? I guess speculation is going to be our strong suit from here on in, and we will see. All right, guys and gals, have a wonderful night. I'll see you on quitefrankly.tv, and thanks for a truly great week. Until next time, bye-bye.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Quite Frankly is filmed before a live studio audience, and now our super chatters, starting with Stowe Stoob and Jay Britz. Thank you to all of our gold pillars and everybody else. A new week is coming, and I can't wait to see you all. Hopefully I'll be from the comfy confines of Studio A, and if you see me sitting here on Monday night instead, you'll know, well, work continues. All right, guys, good night. Become a sponsor, ladies and gentlemen. And be ready for the latest edition, the February edition of the Quite Frankly Bulletin that is going to be coming out on Monday morning. We will get that out far and wide to you all. It's going to feature wonderful pieces by a lot of great people and contributors, including many of you with our couple spotlight. So we're getting ready for Valentine's Day. All right, good night.